Does this mean that this is a liberal court? Of course not. But it does mean that there are small things that maybe the majority of people aren't paying attention to that show you this court is not in lockstep with whatever the conservative position is. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. This is a conservative court. You can disagree with its rulings, but it is not just issuing rulings across the board that support conservatives. Let's start with the Supreme Court, all right? Because for all of you on the left who constantly say that the Supreme Court is in the pocket of the right, it's not true. Wait, is this a conservative court? Yes. Have they issued decisions that I disagree with? Yes. Have they allowed this administration to engage in certain excesses that I wish they had reined in by insisting that those were powers of Congress? Yes. But as I have said before, this is not a corrupted court. This is not a court that lacks any intellectual integrity, etc. It's just a very conservative court. It's a court that gives a lot of deference to executive power. But Dan, every single ruling that's come down has been against liberals. And that is why I'm doing this segment, because you're not going to hear this anywhere else, what I'm about to talk about. Illegitimate, that's the word I was looking for. Those of you who view the court as illegitimate, so bad for our system for people to refer to this court as illegitimate, hopelessly partisan. So, did you know that today the Supreme Court declined to take up a number of high-profile cases brought by conservatives, meaning people or entities on the right wanted the Supreme Court to take up the cases because they lost in the lower court, and the Supreme Court wouldn't do it. Let's start with Alex Jones. The court rejected his appeal. Of course, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, who has been ordered to pay out $1.4 billion in damages to the families of the victims of the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting after he falsely alleged that the massacre was a hoax. The court has rejected his appeal. I get that rejecting appeals doesn't get as much attention, but it's significant. Number two, the court rejected an appeal from a group of Colorado parents seeking to sue their public school district over a policy that allegedly allows children to pursue gender transitions and be supported by school staff without any parental notification. So the parents in Colorado were trying to sue the public school district over a policy they claimed allowed children to pursue gender transitions. The court rejected their appeal. The court declined to take up a conservative group's challenge to the Department of Homeland Security's authority to issue temporary work permits to immigrants who entered the country unlawfully without express consent from Congress. So this conservative group wanted to challenge DHS's authority to issue these work permits to immigrants, and the court said, we're not going to evaluate. Now, does this mean that this is a liberal court? Of course not. But it does mean that there are small things that maybe the majority of people aren't paying attention to that show you this court is not in lockstep with whatever the conservative position is. It's very conservative. And for those of us in the middle, it's going to lead to results at times that we don't like. But those of us who care about our institutions, like the Supreme Court, need to point this out right now to the liberals who want to try to delegitimize the court. And I'm telling you, you don't want to do that. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. This is a conservative court. You can disagree with its rulings, but it is not just issuing rulings across the board that support conservatives.